Hey everyone, Mary Ellen Van Sue Jennings of the Real Estate Ladies of North Atlanta. And boy, we have a great topic for you today. The topic is, what kind of homes can you buy for $1 million in the Alpharetta, Milton area? So this is a great topic because I think some of our viewers are not from Atlanta or they're not from the area, so they have no idea, right?
Right.
What you get for your money. All right.
Right.
So,
well, in general, you can get a lot for your money in this area. And most of these homes that are $1 million are considered upscale in Alpharetta and Milton. They have spacious floor plans and high-end finishes. They have desirable amenities. And so here's in general, an overview of what we're going to talk about. Predominantly, we're going to talk about single-family residences, 4 to 6 bedrooms, 3 to 5 bathrooms in the 3,000 to 5,000 square foot range. These are ample homes for families, and they include like very nice kitchens, hardwood floors, luxurious master suites. They also have a lot of nice amenities as well. You know, those open floor plans, updated appliances, home technology, wonderful outdoor spaces, including, landscape yards, decks, patios, and some of these properties include private pools and, of course, access to the community amenities of tennis courts and pools as well, clubhouses also. So just to give you an overall insight of Alpharetta in January of 2025, there were 107 homes listed for more than $1 million. In the Alpharetta area with an average price per square foot of $468 and change. In Milton, there are a lot of equestrian properties in the Milton area. And so these homes often include a little bit more ground or acreage around them, and they often exceed that $1 million mark pretty easily. So, the market's dynamic. These prices can change pretty quickly. The availability of properties can change very quickly here. And so the examples that we're going to give you today were not listed by either Mary Ellen or myself, Sue Jennings. And the status of each of these properties may have changed since the writing of this particular podcast. So Mary Ellen's going to show you a couple of these homes. And Mary Ellen, if you...
we're going to start with Jennifer Oaks here.
Okay, Jennifer Oaks.
And it actually sold for 1.035. It actually went 3.5% over asking price.
Right, because they were only asking $1 million for this home, and it went over asking. It has 5 bedrooms, it has 3 baths, it's on 1/3 of an acre, and it's 4,938 square feet.
And what do you think of this so far as putting it?
I think it's very freshly painted. It's light and airy looking. They staged this home nicely, and it looks move-in ready, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what people are looking for, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, when you don't have pictures, we don't want that one. So we're going to go to we're here to show you some pretty stuff. So number 2, there's that they're not getting anything. So number 3 here is this really pretty house.
What's the address of that one, Mary Ellen?
It's at 528
Branyan Trail in Alpharetta.
Yep.
Okay, it was available for sale for $985 at the time of the writing of this. Do you know if it's still on the market, Mary Ellen?
Yeah, so this one is still for sale, and it's decreased 40,000, so it's actually $945.
$945.
Yeah, so this is under $1 million right now. So let's take a look at this one.
So this is 5 bedrooms, it's 4 baths. It's on 0.21 of an acre, but it's over 3,000 square feet. It's 3,054 square feet. And really cute porch there. Looks very updated on the inside, nicely decorated, shows really, really well.
It might be a little smaller for people. Like the kitchen is not as big as some of these other homes that you're getting for $1 million. So I think for here, you're paying for location.
Right.
and you're kind of paying, that's just kind of what the market is. And honestly, it's been sitting on the market for a little bit. So maybe it's a little overpriced.
Okay.
Which I hate to say that, but I mean,
Hey, well,
it's just showing it's been on the market and they've decreased it and it hasn't sold. Where a lot of these properties that we're showing have actually sold. So,
okay.
so number 4, which is 610 America's Cup Cove.
America's Cup Cove. Yeah, America's Cup Cove is located. It's located in the Lake Windward community, which is a phenomenal community. So, that surrounds Lake Windward. Great amenities as well there. This home at the time of the writing of this was pending at $975. What did it sell for, Mary Ellen?
It sold for 1.008. So it went 3.4% over asking.
Wow.
So
yeah.
if you price these houses to sell, you're going to get over list price, right?
Right. That's phenomenal. So it's 5 bedrooms, 5.5 baths. It's on a little more than a half an acre, and it's 5,011 square feet.
Perfect.
Nice home. Yeah.
It really is. All right, let's go to the next one, which is, all right, so this one is still for sale. It is 203 Walnut Creek Crossing in Alpharetta, 30005.
Walnut Creek Crossing, by the way, Mary Ellen, is in the same general neighborhood of Windward that the America's Cup Cove property we just looked at was in. So this one, at time of writing this, they were asking $990. What are they currently asking for it?
They're actually at $935.
Wow, they've really been, they're motivated sellers, and they've really dropped the price of this one. It is 6 bedrooms, 4 baths. It's on 0.42 of an acre, and it's 4,183 square feet. Now, here's an example of where this home is nice and clean, but perhaps could use some fresher paint, maybe some staging. And maybe doesn't show as well as what it could for that price point.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So I love this, that we can show our viewers what you actually get for your money. So, all right. So the next one we're going to look at is actually 1425 Landings Chase in Alpharetta. And that one has sold, and it was listed at $975, and it actually sold for $990, which is 1.5% over asking.
Again, this home is in the Windward community again, very popular because of its schools and the amenities. This home has 6 bedrooms, 5 baths, is on almost a half an acre, and it's 5,131 square feet.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting, different areas, different neighborhoods, different, situations. You're going to get, this happens to be, Windward happens to be a very desirable area. So a lot of houses will sell very quickly in here if they are priced correctly. So let's go into pricing correctly, because I think people don't understand. It's like, we don't just come up with the price, right?
Oh, look at that wallpaper. Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch.
I mean, that's not hard to take that down. It's not much.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're just saying, but if we talk about, it actually sold, so that's a good thing. But if we talk about pricing, who determines a price in this market? In any market, in any real estate.
Well, really, the buyers do.
Right.
It's what the market's willing to bear, is what the house is going to sell for.
I mean, so people just think, they really do. They just think that we just come up with this material price, but actually it's the buyer who comes up with the price. All right. So this next one is 390 Braden Way in Alpharetta. And it actually was listed at $999 and
closed for $985.
So it sold for 1.4% below asking, which is, I have to say honestly, because we've been doing this for a while, we know that a lot of this stuff usually everything sells between, like, if you price it right, between 98%
Mhm.
of list value to over 100%. So
Right.
it actually is pretty much in that number there of
Right.
being
And
within that 98.4%,
right. And it's proven statistically that if you overprice a home, trying to get as much as you possibly can get out of the house, you actually end up with less because the house sits on the market, then it gets stale. You have to take price reduction after price reduction. And at the end of the day, it's been proven that you actually end up with less in your pocket because it's
It's
been
a really
sitting on the
nice
market
kitchen.
and you had to take those price reductions.
I like this kitchen though, don't you? Don't you like that?
Yeah, well, Braden is a relatively newer, one of the newer communities in the area. This home has 5 bedrooms, 4.5 baths. It's on 0.12 of an acre, so it's basically a zero
Yeah,
lot line community, but it
right.
is 3,900 square feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. And then, it sold pretty quickly. So that was good. All right. So the next one we're talking about is it sold as well. And this is one of my other favorite little subdivisions is Crooked Creek. So
Mhm.
it's 14420 18th Fairway in
Mhm.
Alpharetta, Georgia.
Mhm.
And it was listed at 1,029,900, and it
Mhm.
sold for 1,025,000. So it was
Okay.
only 0.5% below asking.
Right, right. So a lot of the pricing in Crooked Creek is dependent upon the view and the location of the home within the community because it is a golf course
Yes.
community. There are different sections to Crooked Creek, but they do have wonderful amenities, including tennis and swim. Like I said, the golf course as well. And this particular home was 6 bedrooms, 5 baths. It's on a third of an acre and it's 5,022 square feet.
And I will tell you, I actually was in this house with one of my clients. They didn't buy this specific house. They actually bought another one, but we did look at it. And I will say that it was well maintained, except it needed some updating. So that's why my clients were coming from other parts of the country, and they have kids and they're busy in their lives. So they just didn't want to take on making it their own, if that makes sense.
Right. So a
So,
lot
but
of
it's
the
beautiful.
there is a newer section in Crooked Creek, but I would say the majority of Crooked Creek was probably built in the mid to late 90s.
Correct.
Mhm.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. But it really maintained really nice. All right, we have one more to show here. And this one sold for asking price. So it's 10470. I don't know, Stanton
Canyon
Street.
Street.
Stanton. I can
Yeah.
never say all these things. They're so, why do you have to make it so complicated?
It's a cute house.
In Alpharetta, but it is an adorable house. So it actually sold for list price.
Yeah,
So
$1 million right there. So it's 4 bedrooms, 4.5 baths. It's on 0.31 of an acre. And it is 6,407 square feet.
yeah, it's pretty big, but it looks like a really cozy house as we're going through some of the pictures
Yeah,
here
it's
too.
super cute. Very,
Super
very cute.
and updated nicely. The kitchen's real nice. I mean, just looks, really, really nice. So what else can you say about the area of Alpharetta and Milton that you look at these houses and they're going pretty quickly, if they're
Right.
placed right,
Right.
So I have a pet peeve. I don't know if you have this pet peeve too. Look at All right, can we take half of this stuff out of the closet when we list it? I mean, come on. I want our viewers to give their opinion on this. If you guys see this, what is your opinion on looking at a closet like this?
Well, Mary Ellen, what was on the floor? It's a shame we can't see what was on the floor because my pet peeve, there we go. My pet peeve is stuff on the floor when I'm trying to show a home. I really dislike anything being on a floor.
Yeah. I mean, a beautiful house, whatever, but it's so funny that the littlest things can make people not like a house or
Mhm.
have a strong opinion, and that might deter them from purchasing your property. So,
Right.
so remember that. Oh, and those ceilings, sorry.
The
Here,
drop ceilings. Yeah.
yeah, no,
Mm-mm.
not in $1 million house. I'm sorry.
No, no.
Sorry. You know, we have a little pet peeves, but remember, but see, they made this, you know, where the pool table is, they made that really nice, and the
Well,
workout room, you know?
yeah, one of my pet peeves on a lower level, terrace level like that is if there's different heights of ceilings. I
Right.
recently sold a property that was over $1 million. And every room you walked into on the terrace level had a different height ceiling, which was really interesting.
But a beautiful neighborhood in
Yeah.
Thornbury. I mean, really, just a really pretty house. And but another pet peeve of mine is decks, because you know what is like people don't realize, and Sue can relate to this, that it is so hot here that you have to constantly stain your deck and maintain your deck because it's so hot here. So that's another one of my pet peeves, but you know, what can you do? What can you do?
Right.
So anyway, what else can we add? Anything else to, you know, just the area of Alpharetta, what people see, you
Well,
know?
I think what we'll do in a couple weeks too is actually go up in price point and continue to show people, you know, what they can get for different price points in the area. Because I think just helping our, you know, potential buyers become educated is helpful to them, and also, you know, just makes them very realistic as to what their
Sure.
budget is and what they can expect.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, so now we're going to go into, we are going to go into our next section, which is neighborhoods. And
Mhm.
today we're going to talk about Chattahoochee Reserve by O'Dwyer Homes.
Mhm.
We're going to show a little bit about that while you are explaining that. So I'm going to
Okay.
bring that
Well,
up in a minute here.
O'Dwyer Homes is a local builder in the Alpharetta area, and they are building a luxury home community called Chattahoochee Reserve with estate-sized lots, home sites on the shore of Lake Lanier. So it's a lake lifestyle there where you have, you know, you can watch the sunset and you can go out onto the water on weekends, and you can use the private marina there in the community so that you can launch your boat and so forth. There's so much in this community. It's conveniently located to Georgia 400. You can get to fine dining and shopping very easily from this community. And these homes are really, really pretty. They have craftsman style, traditional styles, and farmhouse style architecture in this community. Numerous design options and decorator finishes for you to choose from and make it your home. And also enjoy that lakeside lifestyle. The schools are excellent in this area. It's Little Mill Middle School. Uh,
Yes. Say that 10 times fast, Sue.
yeah. I said Little Mill Middle School, but I should have said first Chattahoochee Elementary School and
Right.
East Forsyth High School. So it's Forsyth County Schools, Forsyth County taxes as well. So there are 6 floor plans to choose from. They start at $715,800. They have 4 to 5 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, and 2-car garages.
Yeah, we've got so you're like linear access, you know,
Right.
private backyards, community marina. Oh, that's a big thing. Having a community marina is good.
Right.
So you're definitely paying for it. So Chattahoochee Reserve. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Very nice.
who wouldn't like that view, you know, and sunset, having your coffee, and yeah, I mean, that's just wonderful. All right. So now that we have gone and talked about the community of the day, we're just going to go dig into what do we love about North Atlanta today?
Well, today we're going to talk about family-friendly activities
Oh, yes.
that everybody loves in Atlanta. The first one being the Georgia Aquarium. It's home to whale sharks, beluga whales, playful sea otters,
Yes.
funny penguins. I mean, Kids just love the interactive exhibits there, the 4D theater, and a chance to touch stingrays and, starfish and so forth.
And we're pretty spoiled living in Atlanta because it's really such people come from all over the world to see this aquarium, and it's in our backyard. And the beluga whales, they just love to come see them and stuff. So anyway, there's always activities, and you actually can go and scuba dive with the sharks. You can do all kinds of things. So it's really great. I know that a lot of kids, a lot of schools do their field trips there. So I feel like that's kind of cool. All right, what's the next thing?
The next one is Zoo Atlanta. It's located in Grant Park.
Yes.
And it's great for families and young children. It's home to giant pandas, a large gorilla habitat, and a petting zoo. And there's also a train ride for little
And do you hear the zoo in my house? There's always a zoo going on in my house, whether it's birds chirping or dogs barking. So, I really do love the zoo. So anyway.
My Maine Coon fell asleep on the floor next to me.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it's a little storming here today. So the animals are a little acting up today, but we're just going to power through these talks today because we really want everybody to know about Atlanta. So anyway.
So number 3 on my list is Fernbank Museum. It's a natural history museum. It has massive dinosaur skeletons, hands-on science exhibits, and incredible outdoor nature experience with tree houses and walking trails. And it also has a giant screen theater for to add to the fun.
Ooh, that's nice. And where's that located exactly?
I'd have to Google that to give you the exact address.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know the exact
address. I've been there, but I can't remember the address.
I know, but you know what?
Near Midtown.
Yeah, it's all near Midtown. And the next one we have?
Piedmont Park and the Atlanta Botanical Garden. This is one
now,
of my
I know, Sue, that's one of your favorites. So we can talk all day about the botanical garden.
Yeah. So there's just... Seasonally, you have to visit Atlanta Botanical Gardens at different seasons of the year to truly appreciate it. They've got, wonderful special exhibits. Last year they had Alice in Wonderland, and there were topiaries throughout all of the botanical gardens with different scenes from Alice in Wonderland. At Christmas, they do this amazing light display at night, and they serve, like hot chocolate and warm cider and things like that. But there are so many things for kids there. There's a train exhibit in the winter, there are playgrounds, there are walking trails. There are places there where you can get something to eat. There's a beautiful gift shop as well. But there is a magical children's garden there that kids really do like.
Yeah, and Piedmont Park too. I mean, whether just there's always activities going on there, and people don't realize that Atlanta in the middle of the city is this beautiful park and the botanical gardens.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You don't have to leave the city in order to see beautiful gardens. Like I went this weekend to see the tulips and the daffodils in Gibbs Garden, and that's north of the city, but it's like an hour away from the city. And here you can just go in the city and experience the beautiful flowers, which I really enjoy. And going different seasons, because we have so many different flowers blooming, and even like 2 weeks apart. The cherry blossoms can be blooming 1 week with daffodils and tulips, and then the next week it's azaleas, then it's roses, and it's just amazing what you can find here. So we really do have, that's what I love about living here too, is the 4 seasons and all the beautiful flowers.
One of their cool exhibits a couple years ago was all about origami. They had an interior origami exhibit that showed you how to fold your paper to create the, in a smaller version, of course, on your own paper, the same exhibits they had around the botanical gardens, the different origami statues that were around. Very, very cool things like that.
All right, so number 5 is?
The Children's Museum of Atlanta.
Yes.
I can honestly say I have not been there yet, but it does encourage young children to be creative and to learn. There's a play grocery store there, a climbing structure, and there's an arts and crafts area. And there's a lot of interactive fun.
Yeah, and I think that's really, really good to these kids don't get as much. I feel like with all the technology, they're not getting as much creativity. So I love to bring children to a place where there's no phones and everything else, and they can just be creative. So this is the place to go in the Children's Museum of Atlanta. All right. So I think those were some great family fun things that you can do in the Atlanta area. So that's what we love about North Atlanta is the family fun events. And we're going to go into our design tip of the day, which Sue is always our great person on the design tip of the day. And we're going to talk about repainting the front door and what it does and what we need to do. So
this is a very inexpensive thing to do that can really change the curb appeal of your home. It can really freshen it up. It can just change the character of it so much. So first impressions matter, especially when you're trying to sell your home. It's, one of the first things buyers see when they come up to the front of the house is your door. And that often, the buyers decide within seconds of seeing the front of the house, whether they like it or not. But you want to create a welcoming entryway, and a beautiful door color can set the tone for the rest of the home, especially when you're trying to sell your home. It can make your listing stand out. It can fix any of the wear and tear that's on your door, and it can increase the perceived value of your home as well.
Right,
So
let me ask
all
you
good things.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
For our viewers' questions, I want to know, what color is your front door, or what is your favorite color for a front door?
My front door is glass.
Well, yeah, mine is too, and a little, yes, I get that. But if you were to pick a color, what would be one of your favorite colors you've seen as a door?
Well, what's interesting is I actually kind of like to see like a pale yellow front door if you're doing like a mid-century modern. It depends upon the style of your home. I mean, if you're doing more of a craftsman style, maybe like a sage green or a charcoal might be really cool.
Yes.
And depending upon whether you've got like a red brick home, sometimes looks really, really good with like a navy or like a medium blue, gray blue front door or a black front door. So it really depends upon the elevation of the home and what the other textures are that are bringing in color into the visual space that you're dealing with.
So let us know what your favorite color is of a front door. And of course, if you're in like the beach towns and things like that, you're going to have some really cool colored doors. But Atlanta, we're very traditional homes, very, boring, but you can make your door whatever you want, as long as the HOA doesn't. The HOA, I know in certain like townhouse communities are like, your doors and shutters can only be these 3 colors, and you have to get them approved. And I know in my HOA that we had to get colors approved before we changed them. So that's a thing about Atlanta that people don't realize, that sometimes the HOA has a little bit more control over what the houses look like. So anyway, today we talked about what you can get for $1 million in the Alpharetta Milton area, kind of showed the market of what things were listed at and what they sold at. So we're still on target that houses are selling, if they're priced correctly, between 98% and over for a home. So I think that that's a good idea when you are listing something in this area. If you are pricing it right, you should be able to get between 98% and whatever you can get above. Then we talked about the community, which is this great little community, Dwyer, and it was Chattahoochee Reserve, and it's on the lake, and you can have a marina, and you can, and that's all fun and games, that's all great. And then we talked about what we love about North Atlanta, which is our family fun activities, which is fantastic. All these places, if you have kids, you must go to at least once. And a lot of times your kids will go on field trips to these places. So go on the field trip with them. And then last we talked about repainting the front door and what it does for you. So thanks for tuning in. Follow us on socials. And if you have any comments, we'd love to hear your comments. And if you want to hear anything else, just let us know. Take care. Bye, Sue.